name is Andre. I have made one video prior. If you actually saw it, it was about a colon hydrotherapy that I underwent in EuroHealth Clinic here in Asheville, North Carolina. And I would like to share my experience with cosmic energy, or energy work, as Tanya would say. I can't tell you enough about it in probably a short video, but it's something that goes beyond our physical body. Most of us as humans, think of us as this thing that we can touch, we can feel. This is who I am, this is my body, I can see it. Doctors, most of medical doctors, treat our bodies as is also. Here it is, here's the body, something's wrong with you, here's the pill, go for it, try it out. If that doesn't work, well, we'll try something else. However, some of you might have heard of a new science called epigenetics. If you haven't researched it, check it out. It's basically modern day science, and modern day doctors or medical doctors finally came to realization that genetics is one thing, but what controls actually genes? What is actually the thing, what behind it that turns these genes off and turns them on, and how does this process works, and what actually controls them? And there's a whole new science branch that started called epigenetics. What is epi? Above genetics. Well, let me tell you a little bit about cosmic energy. Cosmic energy takes that epigenetics and looks at it from a body from a whole different aspect. It looks at the body as your physical, as your energetical, and as your what some of you might have heard of aura. People would say, oh, you have a good aura, or you have a bad aura. And hey, it's not just like the halo that Jesus had walked around him. It's the actual protective layers that surround us. And within these layers, you might have heard of, oh, somebody put a spell on you, or somebody did a witch curse on you. And some of you might have heard of accidents that happen, and people don't understand what happened. The guy was 35 years old, and all of a sudden he died of a heart attack. And science sometimes can't explain the things that cosmic energy does, and what it does, and what it did to me. Just to give you a little background, had some family issues, and something that I don't really want to talk about publicly, but I do want to just say that some things that it wasn't really unexplainable right, and right in the sense that something I felt that it was more that controlling me. I could be angry, I could have been not focusing, or having a hard time actually understanding what was happening with me. And so I came to Tanya and said, Tanya, I feel there's some kind of external energies trying to control me. And after first session, after the 40 minutes of the first session of energy work, I felt released. And released in the sense that like something externally reached into me and pulled out this staggered energy that was controlling me from really unexplainable side. Something that you can't just say that you're taking a pill and all of a sudden you felt better, because no matter how many pills you would take, or I would take, but I don't really take pills, but supplements I do, and it still wouldn't cut it. So after one treatment of cosmic energy, I felt released. I felt drained in a good way. And then we did few more following ups, and I realized that within the family line there has been a curse or a spell that's, I would say it was a curse that was put on my family, and it ran within generations. This is something that might not, people heard of karma, right? And karma, it's something that could be attached to not just you, it could have been attached to your grandparents or your parents, and the weight that you could be carrying through is actually came from far back of your ancestors. That's something they've done. Some of you might be listening and say, well, you're crazy. But, it is true. That's how energies work. That's how karma works. That's how beyond our physical bodies, what we have these energy bodies that surround us. Those things, those karmas, those witchcrafts, they get leached onto us, and they suck this energy out of us. They suck the life out of us without us physically knowing it. And Tanya is the master. Well, she's a progressor, which is above master in this healing art called cosmic energy. And just in the few sessions, I felt this sort of cleansing process that happened not just within me, but I've seen it happen with my dad and my mom and my wife. And this process is so powerful and so yet hard to understand that it really sometimes life has to smack you in your forehead for you to realize that there's something more to it, meaning to what's happening than just your comprehension, that what you can understand. And the best thing I can tell you is you must try this. We are all living in this earth, and we are not innocent. In some way or the other, we have done harm, or we hurt someone, or created some kind of, maybe willingly or unwillingly, a bad thing. We can say bad. People say, well, what is bad? Bad is, in my idea, something that you created, some harm towards another human, or an act that you created, or is something that has actually taken energy out of you. And just one more example is the fact that, how sometimes you can meet some other person and you can go on and talk to them for hours and you feel great, but then how sometimes you can meet another person, you could talk to them for 5 minutes, and then you feel depleted, and then that other person all of a sudden feels great. So and then all of a sudden, days after, you still feel depleted or run down or depressed or angry, and you don't know what's happening, and you don't know who to turn into. And like chronic depression, what is depression? We don't even know. Like, science doesn't really know. They can put you on antidepressants that literally will just make you a zombie. But in reality, what could be happening is actually some kind of energies that leached onto you. And how would you come to a medical doctor and say, hey, I have this kind of energy that probably attached to me? They'll look at you as silly. But if you come here, you come to Tanya, to your health clinic, you'll understand. She'll understand exactly what you're saying, because you're not alone. There are many of us out there that finally waking up and realizing that modern medicine simply cannot explain some of these, aka paranormal activities that's happening around us. And if you are a victim of so, or if you feeling that, don't hesitate. Give her a call. She'll consult with you. I live in Los Angeles. I flew out here. This is my second year come seeing Tanya. Just because I know what it has done to me and to my family, and anyone who's young parents or anyone who's wanted to be a parent in the future, you should think twice about what have you carried with you, what kind of weight have you carried with you, and what kind of weight did your ancestors or you inherited from your ancestors, and how can you clean yourself, and how can you not pass on this energy to your kids. So once again, my name is Andre. This is April of 2017. making this video to all of you out there who's listening just because I care. I care for this knowledge. I care for what it can do to you. And again, if you're suffering from something that your doctors simply can't describe, whether it's a migraine, whether it's chronic disease or illnesses, don't wait. Give her a call and see it for yourself. Cheers.